number one, it has to be recognized by the government that the people of Nigeria are entitled to enjoy their right of housing. If people are living in slums, human beings are living in slums, you cannot tear gas them in the dead of the night. You cannot move bulldozers there to render them homeless. You must create an alternative accommodation for them. That is what the law provides for. There are decisions, of course, on this matter. And the case of the First Republic that you refer to, you know, these are lessons for us. But since the days of the military, particularly with respect to Morocco, what the regimes in Lagos have done, military and civilian regimes, is to wage a war against the people. There is nobody who is opposed to urban development or urban renewal program, they call it. But you must take cognizance of the poor and vulnerable segments of the society and then create alternative houses for them so that you do not displace them and render them homeless. As it is currently going on in Lagos, it's a criminal offense to eject a tenant without a court order. In Lagos, it's a criminal offense to use force to remove anybody from a house. In Lagos, those are the laws of the state. That is apart from the provision of the Constitution, that all actions of the government shall be humane. So you cannot move to a side, tear gas the people in their presence while they are running at a scatter. You demolish their houses, including schools and hospitals. Babies are alleged to have died in the process. Some pregnant women have lost their lives and their babies. So it is totally inhuman. It's cruel and brutal. It's not allowed under the Nigerian Constitution. So the government, and in the case of Lagos, the Supreme Court has said, sorry, you have no control over inland waterways. Therefore, if you are going to remove people in the waterfront, you must come to Abuja, discuss with the federal authorities. And part of that discussion, or those discussions, will include finding alternative accommodation to those who are likely to be adversely affected. Unless you do this, all the demolitions are illegal. In the case of Morocco, and we made the point, you say Morocco, you know, the people there were, we live in a place that was a danger to the society. What did they do? They seized the place, filled the place, and distributed the land to the rich. It's part of Lekki today. But you know what we did? You know what we did? There were 2 estates being built by the Jakonde regime. That was the last regime in Lagos. No, they really thought of the poor. I mean, Jakonde in 4 years built 30,000 house units, affordable. And the poor bought these houses. But what we are facing then, even when the government says they are building houses in Lagos, they are building houses for the rich, which honest civil servants cannot afford. But what happened? So we discovered that 2 estates, Ikota and Abesan, were being developed by the government. So those who were displaced moved there and took possession. And the government wanted to eject them. So we rushed to court. You demolish their houses. On what ground can you send them back in? Yes, the court said, but Mr. Falana, don't you think you are encouraging illegal squatters? I said, no, my lord. They turned them to squatters. Squatters. In any case, we're not saying they own the houses, but before they can be ejected, the government must give statutory notice. The government must go to court. Nobody can evict a Nigerian without a court order. Well, and the court agreed with me.
Part of the response for the Lagos government is that they had engaged and notified the residents for about 5 years, and that the law requires them, according to what they said, to be at least 250 meters away from power lines. But many of those structures were constructed within restricted zones. And so it's not out of place. I mean, people can say, who just showed up there out of the blues. Does that fly with you?
No, they have to go to court. If I refuse...
To get an order?
Yes! Because you cannot be the accuser, the witness, the prosecutor, and the judge. And that is the provision of the law. You cannot eject a tenant. A landlord cannot eject a tenant without a court order. It's a criminal offense in Lagos. Under their land grabbing law, there is a law, land protective order, or, property protection law in Lagos. Under that, you cannot use force to eject, to remove anybody from his house or for his property. So that's the law.